How do you build an empire? You don't start with glass and steel and concrete. You start with a single brick. Laid side by side together, they become something much bigger. These bricks are a part of history. The people who set them into the earth were building more than just a racetrack. They were building a legacy. They were building memories. They were building dreams. As decades passed, a kingdom rose around this 2.5-mile ribbon of asphalt. It became an international icon. Lives were made here, and lives were lost here, in a pursuit of eternal glory. No one has to say why this place is special. It just is. And though over the years the pavement between these walls has been paved time and time again, there is still a stretch of bricks by the finish line to remind us all that great things come from humble beginnings.
We visited Daytona, the world center of racing. We visited Fontana, Thunder Alley, Charlotte, and taken a trip up north to New Hampshire. Drivers have been to a bunch of tracks so far this season, but one place they haven't been is back home in Indiana. There's something special about stepping foot into this monolithic memorial to racing history, and there's something even more special about pulling on track. The full force of realizing over a century of history, as important as racing itself, may not hit you until you cross the bricks one more time. No, it's not the Indy 500, but it is Indy. It is the Brickyard, and it is right now. This is the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, round number 6, the Brickyard 150. Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn tonight for the 6th round of the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Connor, welcome. 2.5 miles, 4 90-degree angle turns, and 60 laps of racing coming up tonight for round number 6 after a trip to the short track intermediate up in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire is obviously a blast, a lot of good racing up here, but there's just nothing quite like Indianapolis. All the drivers will tell you that. You got, obviously, you said 9 degrees of banking in one of these corners. All 4 of these corners very different. It's going to make for some very exciting racing. And just like I said, there's just nothing quite like Indianapolis. These Xfinity cars are a blast around this track.
Qualifying is already underway. Again, my name is Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn here this evening. Qualifying is almost done. We've got just over 30 drivers here joining us tonight for the Brickyard 150, a 60-lap race in mighty hot temperatures. You see they are constructed in 1909, one of the oldest paved ovals in the United States. The original design was supposed to be 3 to 5 miles long and 150 feet wide. They scaled it back a little bit when they built this racetrack over 100 years ago. Taking a look at the weather information, it is hot out there today. 77 in the air, but 109 on the surface. That's going to be nice and toasty. And you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen the qualifying results as they are. It's Riley Thompson at the top of the board. Connor, he's second in the point standings, only 5 back from the overall leader, and that continues to be Shane Terrian, who has been rock solid so far this season.
Terrian, once again, looking to go back-to-back. He's had such a great season already so far. Kind of widen that points lead. I believe he actually set a He might have been caught. I don't remember exactly last week, but the point is, Riley Thompson, he's been absolutely on fire. Shane Tarrant's done his best to try to keep a big lead, but it's really those two ahead of the rest of the pack, not really anyone else close to them in the points. Alan Elwood trying to keep up there, but 56 and 83, they're looking really strong.
Checkered flag out here in qualifying, and one of the notes we made last week at New Hampshire, Connor, was have a look here at the manufacturers. There is not a single Ford Mustang in the entire top 15. There's 2 of them down towards the bottom of the screen. There's one, the highest running in the order right now is Davey Hendricks, right now sitting in 18th spot. So there's not a lot of the blue ovals out there today. This isn't Daytona, this isn't Talladega. You're not going to need a teammate here, Connor, but it's just interesting to take note of how few of those blue ovals are out there on the track.
And it's just rare in leagues. We kind of talked about it last week. It was kind of rare how you had such a Toyota Supra, just a Toyota heavy league, because usually those are usually the manufacturers that you don't see a lot, because obviously, fans of NASCAR just really love, historically they love Chevy, they love Ford, and don't really love Toyota, but definitely the opposite so far in this league, without a doubt. Supra's very popular, and it shows because you have about pretty much the entire top 15 just about filled up with them.
And it's 200s between the front 2 starters right now. It's Riley Thompson and Alan Elwood. He's won a handful of races so far here this season. And I believe, including last week, was it not, that he got his 2nd victory on the season? Yes, it was indeed. So Elwood is the only multi-time race winner here this season, and I think that makes him a favorite coming into tonight. This is a different style racetrack, though, Connor. We don't have a ton of downforce to work with here, and we're going to be doing 180 plus on the straightaways. You'll be using your brakes a little bit. You're going to be using your ingenuity, and you're going to be using your strategy tonight to advance yourself forward. This is a pretty short race, 53 minutes if we go green from flag to flag, and these races do tend to go green for a long time here, Connor, and that's why our keys to the race are going to include a couple things, including tires, Connor. You got to manage those Goodyears, make sure they last the entire night.
Yeah, that's going to be very tough to do because these tires like to fall off. Indy is, obviously notorious for completely eating the tires off your car, so you got to be careful about that.
And 60 lap dash, I already mentioned this is a pretty short race, so you're going to be driving pretty hard. You don't have a lot of time to settle into, a rhythm of any sort. You're going to be pitting and going back out there and running all the way to the end. And then the points picture, we talked about it briefly. Coming into the night, it's Shane Tarrant that leads by 5 over Riley Thompson. Then it's Elwood, but he is advancing. So is Stroll, and Finney DeCuna gained 2 spot last week. He ends up in 5th. Bronson Stafford dropped 3. Braxton DeWeese jumped 3 into 8th. So a lot of shuffling, especially around that bubble for the fuel playoffs. So keep your eye on the points bubble on Dan Lisa post-race because we might have some shuffling here. All right, let's roll through the starting grid for this evening's Brickyard 150 on row number 1. It's going to be Riley Thompson alongside Alan Elwood in the number 5. Then row 2, Justin Munsell in 98 and Tom Bourne in that 84, Connor.
Tom Bourne doing a good job getting in 4th. Thomas Bresci still trying to get that up in there 5th. Shane Tarrant, points leader in 6th. Zach Cass in 7th. Nick Massey, a tough night at New Hampshire. He's 8th. Then to get to the round out the top 10. Bronson Stafford and Robert Kenny, 9th and 10th. Brian Chambliss trying to get a better run than he had last week in 11th. Zach Buchanan back there in 12th.
And in 13th place will be Mitch Welker in the other Project 2, number 76, alongside Chad Simpson in the number 14. Then Casey Lakatos in the Sim Motorsports number 50. Lines up alongside Danny Ware in the number 19 car in 16th. And it's Ryan Kish, Davey Hendricks, Finney DeCuna, and Michael Stroll, the rest of the top 20.
We get outside the top 20, Will Roberts, Joseph Tebben, then Casey Shue and Christian Gritzko, 21st through 24th right there, and then top 25, final driver. I don't know who else is there. Tyler Hensley and Hayden Pastores. Pastores has had a rough go of things lately, trying to turn things around. Wimmer Logan and Sarah Tessum both had decent runs last week, and Mike Curley and Justin Mort rounding in the top 30. Justin Roden, rare start for him in 31st. Luis 32nd. Derek Caston 33rd. David Mott rounding out the 34 drivers here today.
So 60 laps on the timing and scoring here for Indianapolis. This racetrack is famous for so many reasons. You don't have to know why this place is special. It just is. Every time you come here, it feels important. I don't care if you're in a go-kart or an Indy car. It feels important. So 150 miles, 60 laps worth of racing up in front. Again, it's that number 56 of Riley Thompson who sits on pole, and he's been getting better and better, Connor. Is he the favorite, or is it that 5 to his outside who's got the most recent win that we should watch tonight? Who's your pick?
My pick's honestly going to be Elwood, but we're just going to have to wait and see who the favorite is. I think it's really going to depend on who gets to track position early. Indy, sometimes it can be tough to pass, and I think whoever gets the lead early on, it's going to be tough to pass them again.
All right, time to go racing for round number 6 of the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Next week, we'll be heading to Charlotte, the Oval this time, then on March 16th. Actually, we've got an off week next week, should note that. Then it's Charlotte on the 2nd of March, then Sonoma Raceway on March 16th, then Nashville on the 23rd, Talladega Superspeedway to round out March, then Richmond, Dover, Vegas, Martinsville, and Chicagoland to wrap up the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series season. Make sure that you hit subscribe if you're not already here on Sim TV. Tomorrow night, Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge action from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The same racetrack for Thursday night. That will be the Scars, Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and Prototype Challenge. Racing from Indianapolis, pace truck pulls off. It's Riley Thompson and Alan Elwood in command of this race. Green flag is in the air and waving in just a moment. The Brickyard 150 for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series is green. Lap 1 complete. They go by pretty quick here in about 54 seconds on lap number 1. They'll be even shorter as we go again. Thomas Bressy down the inside of Munsell, the 98 at turn number 1. Tom Bourne on the outside here, Connor. Pretty single groove, though. I don't see that outside lane being very good after a first couple laps.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to make stuff happen up there. Brian Chambliss is the other driver stuck up there. He's back in, I believe, he's battling for the 10th position right now with Robert Kenny. He just can't do anything up there. And he's still struggling on the outside. Mitch Welker gave him help in the 34 machine.
Welker pushing the 34 off into turn number 3. Chambliss will have to concede for now. Up the road, you see Munsell on the outside. Losing some ground to Thomas Bressy, but actually pulling ahead here, carrying the momentum. Bressy's leaving him space on the outside, Munsell leaving him space on the inside. Bourne just hoping these guys get it sorted out so they don't lose too much time. Looks like Bressy's going to try to get in some side draft off that quarter panel, but now follows in the 98. Bourne pops out of line. They're going to kind of go 3 abreast, sort of kitty corner into turn 1.
You know, Bressy's aggressive. You know, he wants to try to get to the front pretty early on here, but he just can't. He can't really get enough alongside Munsell to make that move work. You see Michael Stroll, a bit of a dive bomb into turn 3. He just got a position with the 24. If you're not, you know, obviously the outside is not good here, but if you can't get alongside someone far enough, you're not going to be able to make that pass work, and then you're vulnerable for a run of someone else to get up to you. That makes you vulnerable to maybe a run on Tom Bourne. Then you're stuck on the outside, then Chantarian's there, and then you're falling back outside the top 10 if you're not careful.
Here's Casey Lakatos on Chad Simpson here into turn number 4. You get these discrete sort of straightaways in between the main turns here, Connor, and that kind of breaks this racetrack up more than other ovals on the schedule. You don't really treat both ends as one corner. They're 4 distinct corners, all with their own distinct liftoff and braking zones, and that can create a challenge for drivers that are trying to make passes, because you want to take every one of those corners as a passing opportunity, but you really can't. You have to kind of concede a position, and you end up losing a lot of spots on the outside or inside. Kish in behind Danny Ware on the back straightaway, but Riley Thompson is pulling away here, Connor, 9/10 of a second out front and not looking back.
Yeah, we'll see what the tires are like in about 6 laps if he starts dropping back or he keeps that gap, because it is surprising to have a lead like that this early on at Indy without wearing the tires out a little bit. I will be really close to the wall, right? Justin Munsell all over, and maybe the 5 struggling with grip, but you know, 56 is looking very strong. I think he sees the points leader up ahead, and I think he really wants it. He's looking strong so far, trying to lead a lot of laps today.
A lot of shuffling going on in the background. Mitch Welker pulling out drivers left, going defensive here on Chad Simpson into turn 1. Casey Lakatos moving forward here so far in the number 50. Started 15th. He's gained 1 spot. He's looking for 2 or 3 more, and they're all right in front of him.
You already see lap 5, these drivers are getting dangerously close to the wall. They're really getting close to the wall on the initial lap too, but they're just going to get worse and worse as the tires wear out. The right front gets hotter, and braking kind of gets a bit earlier and earlier. These drivers are going to have to be careful of that because you're going to see a lot of drivers pound that outside wall. Out of all 4 of these corners, you have a risk of completely killing that wall, and you just got to be careful you don't absolutely bin it early on.
Casey Lakatos made that pass complete on Brian Shambles. Bit of a stack up on corner exit. Stroll gets loose on the underside of Kish in the number 12. Davey Hendricks. Oh no! Crash! Stroll gets turned hard into the outside wall. They're piling up in turn 4.
Casey. Wow! Unbelievable. The 11 got absolutely turned. The 85 to the inside wall. That was insane. The 8 had his initial crash, and it seemed like everyone had trouble stacking up. Someone's flipping at a turn number 4. What is this?
That's the 8 car of Michael Stroll tumbling.
Wow. He was in the initial wreck. My goodness.
That was a huge crash here. You don't typically see wrecks like that at Indianapolis.
That was
I'll say. The 8 and 54 get turned together here. Then the 8 car slams the outside wall, comes back across the racetrack. Everyone scatters. The 4 Casey Shute gets in it. Some drivers just never slow down.
There had to be Michael Stroll flips here, and I'm trying to find, how does he flip at the end here? 54 tried to cross him over, and the 8 was still there. Driver's side, hard into the wall. The 4 of Casey Shute, I don't know who that was who just absolutely didn't brake. It's almost like he lagged out and didn't see it.
That's what I'm thinking too. And right here, whoa. Who was that?
Is
that Passon?
I don't know who that was. I'm wondering if there was internet issues going on here.
It had to be,
it was
because
Zach Passon.
Watch Passon here.
He just never sees anything here.
What is going on?
And he's not gonna get. Well, he might have gotten damaged. I was gonna question if there was internet issues going on because I actually lagged out of the session myself, so I don't know what went on there, but there was definitely something very odd going on there.
We've lost a handful of drivers out of the server, and the other thing that I'm questioning, I just double checked to make sure I had all the visible cars set up. I did. Wow, that was very, very strange. I have not seen that happen in a long time. I saw cars disappearing and reappearing like I had visible cars set low. But something broke big time here, guys. It looks like we're actually going into a red flag state here, which is not something we've seen before.
No.
And just like that, on lap number 7, we come to a red flag here. I really wish I had a red flag on the ticker. I don't.
We're never prepared for it.
It's not something
this would happen.
Not something I'm prepared to do usually, but
this is not. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that had to happen because you just have a lot of drivers who are just killed for the rest of the race now. Specifically, Michael Stroll and a bunch of other drivers who were involved in that pileup. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
I mean, it was very clear that a lot of drivers didn't see what was happening or didn't know that they were driving through the crash. But we've now come to a stop. I wouldn't be surprised if they just re-racked him and restacked him and went again in a new server. I don't really know. This is not something, again, this is an unprecedented situation here on SimTV that I have never seen happen. I actually commend them bringing down the field onto pit lane here and red flagging this.
Yeah, the only other time I've seen a red flag like this is in ORL. It was one of the weeks that last season, it was one of the weeks that you were gone and they were doing Michigan and you were doing that. And for some reason, it was the Toyotas that had a complete wrong set. So what happened was they had to make a new session for it and just start from the beginning. Well, they didn't start from, did they start? I try to remember. I think they might have started from the beginning. I know they had to fix the setup, but basically we were stopped there for like half an hour in a rain break at Michigan just because they forgot to put the wrong set. So other than that, I've never seen anything like this happen.
Well, Riley Thompson was leading that race. He's currently scored. Where is Riley Thompson scored? I see him pulled over on the left. I don't have him on the timing and scoring up front. No, he's actually scored 1 lap down in 26th, so he also was a victim of the drop. Davey Hendricks, Bressie, Sarah Tessa, Morton Kish, Passon, Stroll, and DeWeese. DeWeese actually never took the green, but Stroll is definitely the problem with is what has happened here, Connor, is that they all lagged out, but they were still there and got damaged. So I don't really know what the point is of coming back in if your car is just going to be destroyed.
Yeah, unless you're in it for the points battle like Michael Stroll is, yeah, it's going to be tough to want to get back in after something like that happens. It's just we just keep saying the craziest thing. It's just probably not something we'll really see again for the most part. And someone like Stroll gets taken out. I mean, he's obviously one of the main guys in the points that you're always looking for. I'm trying to see off the top of my head. He's up there fourth in the points, only 32 points back. So he's looking to gain, and the wreck partially might not have been because of the drop, but all the damage afterwards, the only reason he was tumbling and got absolutely destroyed even more was because of the drop. And it's just the weirdest thing. That's really hard to explain how that somehow happens.
Well, I'm hearing that it was a iRacing wide issue that has just happened. It wasn't just contained to this server. So with that, we'll be waiting until everyone can get back in. We can get this race sorted. I just feel, I have to think that collision was partially caused by those issues, because we saw the 54 car, I believe it was, just turn straight into the quarter panel of the 8 car like he wasn't even there, which I thought was really bizarre.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Like, that's the only part of the wreck that really looked normal, because that's a mistake that actually happens. A 54, even if if the 8 was there, he probably just tried to cross him over and he just misjudged it. It happens, but like you said, it is probably likely that he didn't even see Michael Stroll's car at all, and when he tried to do that crossover, the 8 wasn't there, so he assumed he had room to the inside. Then he just turned the 8 into the outside wall, and then all the drivers who piled up afterwards, some drivers saw it and checked up. The drivers who didn't see it just drove through the drivers that did see it, and it caused a lot of drivers to get caught up in an incident that shouldn't have even happened in the first place. It's just the craziest thing.
Well, so I have confirmed that it has happened elsewhere on the service. Brian Heitcotter is actually the one that alerted me to that in another server. So Brian will be joining us in Grid Live Touring Cup next weekend at Circuit of the Americas with a brand new 370Z build from Chris Forsberg Racing. So make sure you're following the Super Lap Battle broadcast for that next Saturday and Sunday. Not this coming week, but the following. So my question to you, Connor, is I don't think I've ever seen something like this happen. We've had the pace truck running laps, but the laps have not ticked off. How does the sim handle a situation like this where we basically red flag the field? It obviously hasn't continued counting laps, so is it just based on when the leader goes?
I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here. I believe at some point the pace truck is going to go off, because obviously I don't think it went off. I think the only reason it didn't go off now is because of quick yellows. Lights are off, so I think it might go off now. But it just won't be counting laps, and we'll just be stuck here at lap 7. The only thing that comes into play if they're not making a new session and are just waiting for everyone to get on the lead lap is this is going to affect the time left in the race, because obviously 60 laps, it should go by at a decent pace, just under an hour, 45 minutes or whatever. But if it gets, a bunch of yellows whenever it gets antsy to get back into the cars, it's going to be odd, because we might start hitting that time limiter. I think the last time that happened was the Vegas race, maybe 20A, as they actually delayed the green, so the pace truck's going to keep going, and Robert's just trying to direct everyone to get back onto the lead lap. He's just
whoa, what the heck? Did you see what the pace truck just did? It just 4x4'd over the pit wall on the front straightaway. I don't know what that's.
I don't know what's. I shouldn't even try. Should we even try questioning iRacing anymore? I don't know what's going on.
Well, I can tell you that we are under a 7-minute-long red flag for server-related issues.
It's a SimTV record.
It is. I think the question now becomes, is it ethically or morally okay to continue the race when there are drivers that are saying that they were impacted by a collision that was caused because of the server issue. So I would not be surprised to see this race either get rerun at a later date or rescheduled and a new server created, or we just continue and those drivers get the short end of the stick. I would probably prefer one of the other two, but I guess we're under rain delay here.
Yeah, it's a rain delay and the sun's shining very bright on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is the craziest thing. I would say you'd have to make a new server to be fair to everyone who got caught up, because obviously a lot of drivers got damaged from that. Obviously Michael Stroll, Justin Martin left. I'm pretty sure he was absolutely destroyed. Zach Passan's car actually looks clean from my point of view, and I don't get that, but that's just iRacing. You had a lot of drivers, though, who still got affected from that incident. Casey Shue has no front end. Davey Hendricks' left front looks a little up, but not terrible. Just a lot of drivers who got in that shouldn't have been in it at all. So I think the only way to fix that completely is to make a new server, and other than that, we'll just have to wait and see what they do.
I guess so. In the meantime, we're going to just We're going to make this red. That counts, right?
Poor guy. He should have never put his arm up. He should have never kept his arm up there. He knew what he was getting himself into.
Yeah, maybe. But all I can tell you is my drawing skill. You know what? I would love like a bucket fill for my telestrator.
Yeah, like a bucket. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's my favorite tool. It gets me out of so many jams.
All right, so let's see. We're still sitting on pit lane. We're 8 minutes into this red flag situation. And now that tells me that immediately after this race, I need to go put a red flag graphic in here. I don't ever set one up because it's not something that we've never had this happen.
It shouldn't happen, though. Well, not in this way. It shouldn't happen. It's I don't. Yeah, I guarantee you're gonna make that red flag thing and not use it for a year. But
probably
when
not.
you use it after a year, you're gonna be like, yes, I'm so glad this happened. Yes.
Well, the irony of this is that the previous graphics package that we ran 2020 and prior did have a red flag graphic, and it was just never something that I took the time and effort to put into the new graphics package this season. So I guess I'll spend 10 minutes after and get it put in just in case it happens again. I think next week is next week our build week?
I feel like this week's week 11. I have to check the schedule, but I don't think next week's build week.
Because we have an off week next week, so I feel like it's supposed to be build week, but I'm not really sure. You see, Alan Elwood's got some damage to the rear end of his car as well.
Yeah. Wonder where that came from. That I hope that wasn't on pit road. That is Munsel's front end. Look.
Let's see. I can't really get a great angle of Munsel's car, but I don't think it's hurt. But
where that came from then? Probably more lag of some sort.
So let's see here. Sounds like, well, what what we're going to end up having to do here is we've been sitting so long. This is going to impact the length of the race. So then one has to imagine. Is it worth it just to move this to next week when we have an off week? I mean, that's sort of what I'm envisioning is going to happen.
One thing, this is a problem because it happened iRacing wide. Obviously, fuel is a big league, but I'm pretty sure the Coca-Cola iRacing series was happening at this point.
And
so
it did affect them. I heard that about a quarter of their field dropped.
My goodness.
So actually, you know what I can do is I can. Nope, I can't draw over my graphics. Darn. I was gonna draw red over my light bars, but I can't.
Just draw red just in the whole Indy circuit. Just draw red over everything because it's all red under red flag.
All right, cars are rolling here. Looks like we've got everybody back on the lead lap. Justin Morton, Michael Stroll, Braxton DeWeese. Okay, never mind. Just Stroll and Morton are not back in the server. Casey Shue is destroyed. Ryan Kish is back in line. So really, Morton and Stroll seem to be the only casualties of this. And we'll resume racing here in a few laps. But after a 10-minute and 46-second red flag, we are back under pacing conditions here at Indianapolis.
And we'll see how long this takes to go back green because the caution is back on the track. A bunch of people getting waved. Stroll's getting a wave. Actually, no, these are black flags getting cleared. Resty got an EOL for whatever reason. Morton, Thompson, Ryan Kish, and Michael Stroll all got black flags cleared for whatever reason. So there's still a lot of sorting out to do. So still.
Yeah, and you have to think about Riley Thompson. He was leading this race when this whole thing happened. He's going to drop all the way back to 27th, and we'll have a fairly decent portion of this race erased, about a sixth of it erased. So he will not have the time to drive back through it unless he's really, really talented and maybe some luck too, because it is not easy to pass here, Connor, and you're going to have to do it with 10 fewer laps and come from the back.
Yeah, I guess that I have had that happen before. I assume that black flag was for cutting the course. When you lag out for a long portion and cut back in on another part of the course, you could get a cutting the course penalty and lose a bunch of time. So that is really unfortunate that happened. Brett C got the same penalty probably, and the guy who was leading every single lap and was the second on the field was looking really strong, and now he's going to have to find a way to get back up through the field in 50 laps. So that's going to be very tough to do. As I guess we actually have pit stops, so we're definitely going back green soon after a long, lengthy rain delay. The track got absolutely poured on. We're actually might be going racing soon, as I believe about the top 10 or 12 stayed out.
And I got to be honest. I know this is under weird circumstances, but I think red flags for weather short ones with simulated time passage in between would be a really neat addition, just to kind of add that immersion. I don't think they'll ever do that, but I think it'd be really, really cool. So we do have the 1 to green. Lights are out on the pace car. We're kind of getting everybody resorted and reshuffled here with this pit stop sequence. I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time under yellow here if we don't have to, just because we're running out of time. And I would like to actually get an idea of how much time we have left in this server.
Now, just under a minute 20 right now. And 23 minutes elapsed. So yeah, like a minute 7, like sorry, not a minute 17. We run out of time easily. Like an hour 17. So
that's still plenty of time. The race will only take 46 minutes if it goes green from here.
Yeah, I just don't want to cut it close. We're gonna go yellow again. So see what the issues for this time. And to be honest, my quality's going up again. I'll tell you that. So that might not be the best of signs.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I didn't get dumped out and was able to cover all that at the very least.
Yeah.
Riley Thompson looks like he's just dropped out again. Ryan Kish also just disappeared off timing and scoring. So Thomas Bressy just dropped again as well. So we are definitely dropping drivers out. And if this continues to happen, Sarah Tessam's gone. They're dropping like flies here, Connor, off the timing screen.
I wonder if this is iRacing wide again. This is definitely a major failure on iRacing's part. I wonder if they're getting attacked, because I know they're not. I mean, iRacing screws us in many ways.
Oh, I'm not upset. This is one of those nights where you can't be upset with iRacing. This is just things that happen. But we've lost again. The bottom third of our field are completely gone again. And with that, I think we're going to have to reschedule this event just because of all the issues here.
Have to see. It's because if this is going to keep happening, we're not going to be able to make any progress, because we made 6 laps under green, had to go red flag. Then we've made so far 2 laps under yellow, and it's happening again. Lost, I feel like, half the field basically, and probably have to go red flag again and hope it settles itself out and get more people back on the lead lap. And who knows what's going to happen. So we'll see what the admins, mainly Will Roberts, does, because this is definitely a situation that no one knows how to handle.
Yeah, so the drivers that just dropped out again: Bressy, Tebben, Passon, Tessam. I already said Tessam. They're shifting around and shuffling because we've dropped more. You could add Hendricks, Kish, Thompson, Tessam, Passon, and Tebben and Bressy to the list of drivers that have just dropped out again.
Alpha got kicked out of a booth by iRacing as well, so Kyle's on his own for a little bit, because his co-host for today actually got kicked out of a track for no reason. Thank you, iRacing.
So back under yellow here, and we may see the drivers pull back down pit lane again. We have time to play with here. This race is pretty short, so it is possible that we could see another red flag condition. And just happened to the Coke Series again, I hear.
My goodness. They're going to have to really do something with the points, or just completely void the points ropes. That as they're lining up, they're not going, obviously. Pit lights is still back on the pace car, so they're going to pace another lap into lap 10. Someone dove in the pit road there. I'm wondering if they do reschedule this.
Here is Will Roberts joining us here at the booth. Hey, Will. Unprecedented issues tonight. A 12-minute red flag lifted and back under yellow. What's going on?
So, from my understanding, it looks like there are some server issues affecting iRacing as a whole. At this time, what we have elected to do is that we are going to not score this race for points, so this is no longer a points race. This is the second time that we've had this happen. It happened way back in our first season as well. So this race is no longer going to count for points. Everybody that's in the server, they're welcome to run this on out and still have a fun run. I'll extend the option to you if you want to cover the rest of this. It's totally up to y'all. But at this point, this is no longer a points scoring fuel race.
So I guess my question is, would this race just be dropped from the schedule entirely, or will it be rerun at a later date, or double points race, or that sort of thing to fill the gap in the schedule?
So that's something that we're going to have to go back after the race tonight, tomorrow at some point. We're going to have to figure out the logistics of that. So at this moment, I don't have an answer on that, but there will be one forthcoming.
All right, so forthcoming answers. Will, where can they find those answers? I know that you guys are fairly active on Twitter, so is that where people should go for more information?
Yes, if y'all want to keep an eye on the Fuel Twitter, that's twitter.com/FuelRL. That's where you'll be able to find any answers on what we're going to be doing. You can also check the Fuel Discord if you're on there. Certainly, that'll be the first place to help find answers.
All right, Will Roberts from Fuel, thanks for joining us here, Will. I think our plan is, because it is no longer a point-scoring race, and with the issues with drivers dropping here and there, I think we will elect to not continue the broadcast, but we will obviously broadcast any reschedule if it were to come about. So that is the plan here, Will. So thanks for filling us in, and hopefully for the drivers that are out there, they'll have some fun time for the rest of the night.
Certainly, thank y'all.
All right, so as you heard Will Roberts there, Connor, this event is no longer a point-scoring race. So what that means for us is that we're not going to continue covering this just because of the chance of losing more drivers. It's just not going to be an all-around enjoyable race to watch, I don't think. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out. We will broadcast any reschedule that appears here for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series when that becomes available. You can follow us on Twitter or on Facebook to learn about when this event will be rescheduled, and we'll go from there. But Connor, that was a weird one, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I've never seen anything like that happen. It's going to continue to happen. I wonder if it's going to happen for a third time pretty soon here, but it'll shape up to look for a good race. If they do reschedule this race specifically and run at Indy again in the future for this season, it's going to be interesting to see. And one thing you can look for is if people do watch this practice race from this session, you can see who's going to be dominant. But it obviously looked like Riley Thompson was going to get the better of a lot of drivers possibly, and Alan Elwood was looking very strong as well as he leads now. So it'll be a little bit of a practice race for these guys if they go back here again, and we'll probably see Elwood and Thompson at the front yet again if they come back here. But until then, we'll just have to wait and see if iRacing can get their stuff sorted out.
It wasn't meant to be tonight, but the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series will resume in a few weeks' time at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Make sure that you're subscribed to SimTV if you're not already. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Sorry about the short broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow night with Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge on the Winding Road YouTube channel, and then on Thursday with the Scars, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and Prototype Challenge races. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and we'll try this one again at a later date.